Alright folks, on to part 3. So we have this text animation, right? Basic text layout. Here's our expression. Pretty straightforward, right in a row. This next part we're going to do a little bit more complex, just to get your mind used to doing stuff with Xpresso. So let's go add a new user data. And what we're going to do now is import your line or your text height and import it to these two guys. So let's have the text height, and then we'll change this from we want it float to be a float slider and have it be a real number. And basically we don't need it that large, so let's have it somewhere between 300 and 10. And then for slider min and max, we'll just have 200 for the max. And default value, let's have 100. Okay, so we got this slider here, and we're going to want to bring that in. So you can either drag in your text animation, or you can just copy this down here, and then double click on these guys to get rid of them. And then we can make a new remark, and we're going to be naming it text height. So come in here, and we got text animation. We want to bring up the text height that we just made, and then of course we want to bring in these two guys and have them both be controlled by the text height. Height and height. Actually, I'm going to show you guys another thing. So you got this height. Let's say you have like 4 other properties on here, and you like really don't want to click on this and go through all the things anymore. Something you can do is just copy this over, and then replacing this name here, the reference, with the actual guy here. So now your object is text1 object and object2, and you have the same property right there. So that might help you guys a little bit. So let's connect those two. You'll notice right away that our cinema text went down. Let's bring out the text here for line 2 again. And we want to have this lower, this second line to be lower. And we want it to be parallel with the height here. So we have the height at 100, and we would like it to be 100 lower. So how do you do that? You ask. Simple. First off, we want to get the math node. This is going to be a calculation, obviously, because math is calculating stuff. Bring in the height, and then we're going to want to have object 2 here. You're going to want to add the basic property, or not basic, it's coordinates, position. Position y is the up and down. And we're going to want to change this math add to math multiply. We're going to multiply it by -1 to give it the opposite number in the negative direction, and hook that up right there. So that worked out pretty well. Right away you'll notice it works pretty nice. Now let's just take it one step farther, and let's make it a little bit more customizable. Add another user data. This time we're going to make it offset height. So now, offset line height is what I'm wanting to do. So line height now. Now you could go with the slider again and do a meter instead of real. It makes really no difference except you have an M on the end, which in this case we're actually using, just like in the line height we're using. I'll just do this one with the M just because it didn't last time. So we got the slider now. I didn't do the setup though. Let's hop back in. Let's have minimum be let's say minus 50, and then for the max be plus 50, and then default 0. Perfect. So now that we added that, we can go down, add our text controls here. Offset line height. It's offset 31 right now. Give us a good number. And let's go. And we're going to want to add this line height to this number. So to do that, we can make another math node. This time we're going to add this number and this number together, because we're adding our multiplied value, the -1, to have it drop down, and then we're adding this extra number here from the line height that you want to offset it. And now that's going to be the position instead. And right away you notice it pops up. Let's go to the options here. Notice we got a nice little setting here, and that is fully transparent all the way down from if you scale it higher or lower, you'll notice it offsets that amount. So next here, let's add another option to, let's say, fillet caps. Just have like a little check mark there. So let's make another remark, drag this over to somewhere clean where we can start new. Rename it, and then go back to this text user data add, and we're going to be adding a boolean, and we'll rename it enable fillet caps, and default will be on. Pretty simple, right? Let's drag in these guys, and we're going to go with this text animation as well, and we want to bring in this property we just made, and of course we're going to have a logic condition. So now that we have all that set up, we need to go back to these text objects, select them both, go over to caps, and enable the fillet caps. And let's change this radius down to like 2. Oops, 25, that's too many. And let's just crank up the steps a little, 6. Okie dokes. Now we're going to need this start and the end on the text objects. So come down to caps and go with the end cap and the start cap. Also here, end cap and start cap. And this is kind of the same visibility option that we did earlier in the previous step. So we bring this into here and then into both of these and both of these. You'll notice right away nothing happens here because right now it should be at 0. or it actually is at 1, I believe. And then we're going to want to change these because it's bringing out a number 1. Instead of 1, we want to input these. So this is a drop-down menu like we did in the overview. Basically, this is 0, 1, 2, and 3. So if we went to user data, add user data, same thing that they have, and do a do an integer and a cycle. The 0 right now is none, and then down the line 1, 2, 3, and 3. That's basically what they have right there. The same exact thing. So we want it to say if it is checked, and checked is 1. Just to show you guys, go to results, bring that up. 1. So if it's 1, it should be going to which option? Option number 3. It's option number 4 minus because that's at 0. And since it's 1 on here, it's going to be going to this number. So that's 3. And then go back here. This is going to be option number 2. Go back in here. Option 2. So let's see if that works out. Fillet caps is on. And you'll notice that it turns off the fillet caps totally. So obviously I got one of the things wrong here. Should be at 1. I think I put 2 in here. Yeah. That should make it work. Yep. So this condition should be 1 and then 3, not 2 and 3. And that's basically a nice even starting point for your text controls. So next we can hop into the animating part of it, and then finally the camera.